He is one of the heaviest hitters in the history of mixed martial arts, but on February 26th, he may be putting on the gloves to take on Jake Paul. I am always happy to speak with Platinum Mike Perry. Mike, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man.
Appreciate you taking some time to chat with me. Of course, this last month has been kind of a bit of a whirlwind for you because, you posted the contract, the Jake Paul fight looked like maybe it was going to happen. We weren't sure what was going to happen. Then we get this announcement that Tommy Fury thing's going on. All this stuff's happening. Can you kind of give me a sense like how this all played out to get to the point where now you are basically the backup, so to speak, for the Jake Paul fight with Tommy Fury?
Man, it's all good. A lot of people are saying, he might not show up again. He's a Fury and he just had a newborn baby. I think he's going to be there, but I'll be ready regardless. It would be a pretty cool experience to fly out and show up and fight, box Jake Paul. Man, I've been working on my boxing. I am a bare knuckle specialist. So, it would be an opportunity that I would really grab a hold of and get everything out of it that I could.
Absolutely. I know when you posted the contract, people were trying to say it wasn't real and all this kind of stuff. We know it is real. It was real because obviously Jake came out and said this is what's going on. Were you surprised that it ended up being the Tommy Fury fight, or did you kind of have an idea that was kind of the plan? Because I think that you and Jake Paul is a great fight. I actually said this on my podcast a couple of days ago, myself and Matt Brown. I'm sure you're familiar with Matt Brown, UFC welterweight. We both said Mike Perry's a tougher fight for Jake Paul than Tommy Fury, if we're being honest about it. But like, did you kind of have a sense this was the way things were going to play out?
I had an idea. Management called and said it's either you or him. If he doesn't show, it's you. And they were struggling to get him to, sign a contract. And, I sent the contract back like the first day. So I'm just like a dirty little tramp who was ready to, go drop the hammer on him. So, it's no big deal. I believe that I will have opportunities and that there are fights for me to have. And I'm interested in this fight, either way, whether it's me or it's Tommy or it's, what if Jake goes out? I saw something with Chael Sonnen talking about what if they pulled Jake out of the fight and Perry had to fight Fury? Now that'd be cool too. So.
Yeah. Can I ask, listen, we can't ignore the reality of, Jake Paul likes to talk a lot, but he's not wrong in the sense of he's tried to put this fight together with Tommy Fury multiple times and it has fallen apart. Tommy's been injured. He had the visa issues getting into the United States. So now the fight's in Saudi Arabia. All these different things have happened. And it just kind of felt like this fight was snake bitten, right? Like it just didn't feel like it was ever going to happen. Is there at least like a little small part in the back of your head saying, I might really be fighting, Jake Paul in the 26th, because this seems to be an unfortunate side effect of this fight where weird things just keep happening that prevent it from actually taking place.
Yeah, I'd be ready to go at the last minute if necessary. I think that's why they've announced that I'm the backup, because it's a foolproof plan. Mike Perry would be ready to show up and fight. And, the thing with the Paul brothers and the Furies too, this is a business, and they're choosing to do business with me, and because of my past, my history, I always show up and I'm down for a fight and I give it all I got. So that's something you can count on. I believe they sent me a package, and I figured I could open this package up right here because they rock with me, and whether it's the fight business, we got to fight each other or not, I still rock with them. I can respect what they're doing. It's good for the game. So let's see what we got here from the Pauls. This doesn't really have to do with Jake, does it? But Logan, KSI, those boxers, those guys, look, they sent me out some Prime, man. Shout out to Prime. I think it's a good drink. And now the new athlete drink of the UFC. So it's only right that I would get it because people still look at me like a UFC fighter. Let's not forget, I'm a bare knuckle specialist, bare knuckle badass, BKFC out here. And I'm still getting repped by UFC. This is what I set out to do in the game. A fight game is to be recognized as a great athlete who, can compete with the best of them. So, and the best of them is the guys who are doing the biggest business, and they're really, they're taking on great fights. I mean, look, give Jake some respect. He fought and beat Anderson Silva. A lot of people are calling the fight. A lot of people always have a lot of things to say, but they're not in the game and they're not getting paid by the game, and they're not fighting and putting in the work in the game. So it's, the next biggest drink right here, and it's good stuff. I've been drinking it for a little while, so it just goes to show, man.
Yeah, I'll give credit.
I'm on top.
I actually had a Prime Energy drink yesterday. It's actually not bad. I was pretty impressed. I got to be honest. It was actually pretty good. Mike, I know the answer to this because I said it earlier myself, but I want to hear you talk about it because this is not trying to disrespect Tommy Fury, and this is not trying to I think I am hyping it up by saying this, but I think you're a tougher fight for Jake Paul than Tommy Fury. I think you're a better boxer. We saw what you did in Triad. You obviously have huge knockout power. We know that's there. You also have an incredible chin. You've shown that throughout your career. Is that argument easily to be made that you are actually the tougher fight for Jake Paul than Tommy Fury?
I mean, that's what everybody's saying online. Fury, I guess he hasn't really been proven yet. And I guess his last toughest fight was against one of Jake's sparring partners who Jake said it was an easy matchup for him. So I think I'm the tougher fight for any guys in any competition. I mean, I'm out here giving it my all. I don't have any quit in me. I'm a relentless warrior forever. It's marked on me for a reason. And that's my game plan, is to just stay in it, use my chin how I have to, and just stay in the game and keep pushing these guys back, because as they get older and they get weaker and they get more brittle and they start realizing all the things I've been through years ago that finally made me, look at myself and say, look, we're in this, and there's only one reason to be in this, and that's to win this. So, anybody calls on me, they know what time it is. I'm showing up. I'm showing out, and I might knock you out.
Absolutely. When you had the conversations with Jake and his team originally, they sent you the contract, and now we know, of course, you're going to be the backup for the fight against Tommy Fury. Is there hope that, let's just say Tommy shows up, the fight happens? I got to be honest, I think Jake wins that fight. Again, it's fighting, so I don't want to, there's a chance Tommy wins, but let's just say Jake wins. Have you had that conversation with them about being next? Like, if you don't get him this time, that you will get the opportunity to fight Jake Paul in the future?
Man, I'm not going to sit here and beg for something. I've been saying it. I'm the money fight. I'm the fight to make. If you want to prove yourself, if you want to have the accolades, I've been in the game for a long time. I fought a good who's who of opponents. And, it's kind of transitioning into this super fights, these stars of fights. I just think of Vitor Belfort, how he went to the UFC, won the title like 19 years old, and then he came back like 15 years later and fought all the greats and, got that pay-per-view. But we all know Vitor from the early days, and then he came back. It's like he was in the game for like 20, 30 years, it seemed like. So he never really left. And those are the accolades that I'm trying to have. I mean, Vitor lost when he came back, though. That's the difference, is that I've stayed in the game. I've continued fighting, and I've found myself to to how I want to fight and how I need to fight to get the wins.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all know you and Jake Paul would be a big fight. I mean, I think there's a lot of interest there. And again, I think a lot of people, myself included, have said you're the tougher fight for him than Tommy Fury. And I think if he does beat Tommy Fury, I think Jake Paul and Mike Perry next makes a lot of sense. It's already getting built. I mean, you're the backup here. It would make perfect sense that whether it's, June, July, whatever, maybe this summer, that's a big fight still. And that's a great way to just move right into that. If Tommy shows up, which again, just being fair, it's happened a couple of times, which is why you're in the position you're in to back that up. But if it doesn't happen and they end up fighting, I still think you and Jake next would make a lot of sense.
It should happen. Let's go. If he beats Tommy Fury, then, someone needs to stop him. And it's me. Let's go. I'll shut him down.
You have experience with Jake in the past. I'm curious, when you watch his last fight with Anderson Silva, have you been impressed by Jake, his growth in boxing? I know, your experience goes back a little further with him. Have you been impressed by what you've seen of him as a boxer lately?
Beating Silva was, I didn't see the Silva that I thought I might see in that fight. And, that's not the Silva that I know, that all the fans who know Silva love. He's been on a downfall at the end of his UFC career. And it was just boxing. I know he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. or something. And I didn't see that fight. Sizes and things. There's lots of details that go into this. I'm in the prime of my abilities right now in my life. And no, I wasn't too impressed with Jake's ability to run away and cower and feint a lot and not really bring the action. He's a tough kid. He's got some muscles on him and he's working out, but there's something that I have that he doesn't. And that's just, it's more than just experience. It's my chin too, and my grit and my will to give to the fight, to the entertainment. How I've been training myself lately has been this thought of entertainment. Like, if people are at sparring watching me fight, I'm like, okay, I need to make this entertaining. I need to not just run away and hide and try to play pussyfoot patty cake. I go in and I get gritty and dirty and I make the fight fun and nasty.
Absolutely. Well, we saw it in the fight with Michael Venom Page. He's a really good boxer. We saw he actually has a couple wins in his boxing career. And the way you fought him, he's a real long, rangy guy, very good striker. And the way you fought him and beat him, I think that kind of woke up a lot of people about how good Mike Perry really is in that kind of a fight. And I think that's what makes the Jake Paul and Mike Perry fight so interesting, is because, you can go out there and test him in a way that he hasn't been tested. And beyond anything else, we know you do have that huge one-punch knockout power, and you've been a striker, so much of your career. Listen, I love Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley's a legend. Tyron Woodley has huge knockout power, but Tyron Woodley's never been a boxer, and Anderson Silva, again, legend, maybe the GOAT, but he is 47. It's not like, age catches up to everyone. They always say Father Time is undefeated. You are a different animal. I think that's why there's so much intrigue on my side to see this Jake Paul fight, whether it's now or maybe 5 months from now, is because you do represent a completely different matchup than anything he's fought thus far.
Thank you. I appreciate that insight. T. Woodley, that second fight, man, I watched the first one. I thought he did good, but the way you said it, I feel like I've always been a boxer fighting in MMA. And, I had a couple hiccups in my career and then, MMA I was doing so good. I was 9-0 at one time with 9 knockouts. And, but I would do all this grappling and then get in there. And when I get in a fight, I just try to punch people. So if I can kind of, cut all that other stuff out and just fight how I want to fight and practice how I want to fight and that's just throw hands and hit people. And there's a different swag to it. And I've really picked up on it. I mean, in my sparring sessions, I just have such a good time. A lot of times, hands down, walking into the fire, I slip and I move, and there's ways you can duck in boxing that you can't do in MMA, or you'll get kicked and kneed in the face. So, I've always loved the sport of boxing. It's always been like the first combat sport to me. I understand that wrestling, they talk about in Roman times and things, but boxing in the 1900s and now it really needs its star that is like from the old times. I consider myself old school, and I believe in, like, how I came up riding around the neighborhood on my bike, knocking on friends' doors, and playing basketball and playing all these sports in the streets, and going home when the street lights are on. And I just feel like times have changed, and the technology, the way people are more lazy now, and I just consider myself old school, like Rocky. I would work out chopping wood, and just I just get down and dirty, man. I'm about it. I'm about that life.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned Mike earlier. You said, even though you're not in the UFC right now, people still associate you with that. I'll disagree on with you one thing there, Mike, because it's funny. When back in the day, when a fighter would leave the UFC, our instant reaction was, well, it's over for them. Like, that's it. You're out of the UFC. You're not in the biggest organization. I would argue, Mike, and you could disagree, but I would argue you're a bigger star now than you even were in the UFC, because I feel like the attention you've gotten, from bare knuckle debut, the fight with MVP was huge, and now all this Jake Paul stuff. Like, I feel like the Mike Perry business is bigger than ever, and you haven't been in the UFC for well over a year. Like, I feel like this is the star power you have now is crazy. Outside the UFC, like, you've built your own brand to where Mike Perry is no longer, to me, like, I don't think of Mike Perry in the UFC. I think of Mike Perry, the bare knuckle fighter. I think of Mike Perry, the guy who's going to fight Jake Paul.
I mean, a lot of people still attach myself to UFC. They say that UFC fighter. A lot of people do that, and yes, they are a very big organization. But to go through that, have as many fights as I did in a short time, and then become my own entity to where I could really thrive in my career, and now I get paid much better than I could ever have imagined, considering what I made in my UFC career. I feel like I've really become the business, my own entity in this game of combat sports, and they can call on me to fight anyone in any way. And that's those super fights that we were talking about, to become my own brand, the Platinum Perry brand, and to have that called upon to make big shows, big events, for the big entertainment business. That's what it's about. And it's not all fake. Sometimes in the entertainment business, these, like WWF or E, for example, these guys really bleed. They really get hurt, and they're doing crazy stuff, and that I wouldn't necessarily want to do. That's not how I would want to fight. I would do it simpler, but there's people who can't do what I do. So we're all here for a reason. We're put in our positions, and y'all know what I bring to the table. I throw heat and I take heat. So bring it on.
Absolutely. I'm not going to ask for particulars, Mike, but can I ask, you mentioned money there. You are being the backup. We know these days the UFC, like when there's a title fight, they'll have a backup fighter, go make weight, all those kind of things. You don't have to reveal any big, numbers or anything, but can I assume, are they paying you to be the backup? Like, are you getting financially compensated to be there just in case?
I'm not sure how the details of that really are working, right? So I was told that technically I would get something for weighing in, pretty much. It's like weighing in to be there if they needed me. Then I assumed that the price would change to my original fight contract that I signed against Jake. And yeah, I would get a little chump change, I think, but I don't know if they're going to bring me out if he makes it to fight week, and if he's there. If they do, to bring me out to spectate that night, if that fight goes through and they still bring me out and cut me that check. I wasn't sure if by releasing the contract and things like that I kind of gave up that money. I mean, it's a good amount of money for a lot of people. They would have been like, oh my God, I would love to do that. But me and my team, we spoke over it. And because I released that contract and things like that, I think I put a damper on that maybe money. I'm not sure if they're going to fly me out once he gets there, once he shows up to the venue, he's going to fight that week. Maybe they will. If I'm really the backup, they're going to bring me out that week to make sure he makes it all the way to the ring. Otherwise, I'll be the one stepping in the ring. So I've gotten all my blood work and all my exams and all of those things to prepare, getting my outfit ready. And, I'll just be waiting on a call. And if they call me, I'll get paid. If they don't call me, I'll get paid another way. There will be another fight that real fight fans want to watch because it's Platinum Mike Perry getting in the ring to fight someone. So, I'm not sure what they're going to do. If they're going to pay me for no damn reason or fly me out and pay me to fight them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep our fingers crossed.
Absolutely. And can I imagine the you mentioned it there, the contract to fight Jake Paul? I mean, I've heard, he talks about money a lot. He wants fighters to get paid. Was it a solid amount of money? I'm not going to ask you to reveal numbers, but was it a good payday to fight Jake Paul?
Man, it would have been it would be my first pay-per-view, real pay-per-view opportunity to where, depending on what we sell, how many we sell, the numbers go up per. And I mean, yeah, on paper, it had the ability to be, if we really sold that fight and people wanted to watch, man, I could have made $20 million.
Wow. That's amazing. That's why I said, I hope it happens. Like I said, whether it's now or later, I think people are getting hyped up about it. And I think this is a fight that makes a lot of sense. You're ready to fight now, though. Like I said, and again, we still got 3 weeks to go. Anything can happen. I don't wish ill will on Tommy Fury by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not, wishing the guy, but again, the history's there. That's why you're in place as the backup, because unfortunately, we know the reality. He just had a kid. Who knows? Like I said, that's why you're here. We don't know. You may be in there February 26th.
Hey, that's the fight game. That's the business game. If everyone is calling for it online, I saw John Fury get online and make a video saying, oh, Tommy's going to be there. Tommy's going to be there. But I feel like he wouldn't have did that if they knew for sure that he was going to be there. So it seems like whatever's better for business, and it could be Platinum.
Absolutely.
It might be.
I love it. Before I get you out of here, Mike, of course, beyond this potential fight with Jake Paul, you are one of the faces of BKFC. I know you have a great relationship with Dave Feldman and the team over there. Of course, you mentioned numerous times you are a bare knuckle fighter. I know a lot of people have been anxious for you to get back in there. We talked last time about the Nate Diaz fight. That's still out there, Eddie Alvarez. Can I ask what conversations you've had with BKFC recently about getting back in there in the near future? Right now, obviously, you're focused on the potential Jake Paul fight, but can I imagine you do want to get back in there and book your next bare knuckle fight sometime later this year?
Well, they said that I would be back as main event in April. So, and they haven't released the opponent yet. They said it's going to be a big name. And, I'm kind of in the dark too. But, that's the thing about me is they can just be like, yeah, Mike's going to fight in April. We're going to set it down now in stone. And then when we find out who it's going to be, we're just going to call him up and he's going to come out. And I'm that easy, I'm easy pickings. I just want to scrap it out, man.
Yeah, well, April would be great. Obviously, you're going to be a headliner. It's like, it almost feels like, and I know titles are still important. Titles mean something, of course, but it feels like when Mike Perry fights, we don't need belts. We don't need any of that. We just need Mike Perry fighting, and it's going to be a show. Like, we know you're one of the rare guys in combat sports to where, we don't need the hype of a title. We just need Mike Perry showing up, and it's going to be a show.
Hold on now. Hold on now. What are you talking about?
No, look at that belt.
What
Look
are you
at it right there.
talking about? We
Look
got
at
a
that
title,
belt.
baby.
Look
We
at that
got a
title.
title. This bad boy is gonna be on the line for whoever I fight next.
I love it. The
So,
platinum belt. That's the one that
the
matters. That's the platinum belt.
platinum bare knuckle. Even if I fight Jake with gloves on, I'm putting my belt on the line, and you know, because I'm gonna take it home with me, and he gonna have to give me a belt or something. He gonna have to put something on, like give me a watch, because it's time for you to get knocked out, Jake.
I love it. I love it. Let me lay this out for you, Mike. You know, again, I'm playing hypotheticals here, but you know, let's say Tommy shows up. Let's say this time it happens. Tommy shows up, and let's say he wins. How great would this be to go out in April, get a big win in bare knuckle, and then come back in July and actually box Jake Paul? That would be an ideal 2023 for Platinum Mike Perry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, win or lose. I mean, I'd fight either one of those guys. Win or lose, they're great competitors. And you know, I mean, to fight a Fury, that would be something, because everyone knows what Furies are to boxing. And you know, Jake Paul, depending on who wins, you know, and even if he doesn't win and Jake's looking to get back in the ring and try to redeem himself, well, you know, he might not want to look towards me, because ain't gonna be no redemption for him over here. So I'm gonna shut him down. But
I love
anytime, man, anybody call me up, bare knuckle knows that I'm coming in April. And if this goes down at the end of February, platinum for the win. Anytime. You see that Hugh Blow? You know who likes Hugh Blow? Boxers, Floyd Mayweather. Boxing is big with Hugh Blow, baby.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Mike, it is always a pleasure to catch up, man. I listen. As I said, let me be clear. I'm not rooting for Tommy Fury to have something bad happen. I don't want that, you know. But listen, selfishly, I want to see Mike Perry and Jake Paul. I think you are the tougher matchup for Jake Paul. I think it is a bigger fight. I want to see it. So whether it's now or later, I hope you do get that Jake Paul fight, because I think you deserve it. I think it's a big fight, and I think you are a tougher matchup for Jake Paul. So we'll see. February 26th. We'll see what happens. If not, maybe down the road, April bare knuckle. As always, I appreciate the time. Hope everything's well with the family. I see you on Instagram, of course. You got the baby and everything. So everything good with the family, and look forward to catching up again soon.
You as well, brother. I hope you and the family are doing great, and we'll talk soon, man. Maybe I'll be in the ring.
Hey, look forward to it, Mike. Talk soon.
See you, brother.